Hi, everyone, and welcome to another one of our Career Video Library videos. Today, I'm joined by Lisa from the UNLV MBA programs. She's going to talk a little bit about their programs at UNLV and what you can expect as a student there in grad school. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and have her introduce herself, explain what her role is, and we will jump right into it.
Hi, Zach. Thank you. My name's Lisa Davis, and I'm the Associate Director for the MBA program at the UNLV Lee Business School. I've been there for probably about 20 years. We have about 170 students in our program. So I do a lot of work with students that are interested in coming into the MBA program, students that are in the program, and I also stay in contact with alumni. So that's my role, is mostly the student services side of our MBA program.
Awesome. So how did you come to work at UNLV? And can you talk a little bit about the path that you took to get to your current position?
When I was an undergrad, I did environmental science as my undergrad, and I was planning to run an environmental company. That's what I wanted to do, some type of environmental mitigation or working for a nonprofit. So I decided in my senior year, I attended a conference, and that conference was run by someone who had an MBA and an engineering undergrad. And they had mentioned something about that technical undergrad with the business sense. And I thought, I think I'll go get an MBA. And I started working in the MBA office during my time. Well, I started working in undergrad during my time in my MBA. And then the position came open for the MBA programs. And I've been working, I think I've had 5 or 6 different roles within the MBA program over that time. Didn't plan to work in academics, but I love working in academics. And I love working with students that go out and make such a difference in our community and our world.
Awesome. I love that answer. It's always, I feel like almost every answer I've gotten to that question from employers is they started with something they totally did not expect, something totally different. And then they ended someplace they would never have expected to end up, and they're very happy with it. So it's a lesson to students to, be open to new experiences, and you never know what's going to creep up on you and become the thing that you love doing. Yeah. So Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to mention, it seems like students too take that path as well. I talk to a lot of prospective students that do something they thought they were interested in or they had a passion for, or somebody else told them that that's what they should do. So they get out of their undergrad and then they end up doing something and they're like, okay, I think I need a business background so I can advance in this field. And I talk to a lot of students that come back for business, just that same kind of path. Doing something, students in criminal justice or psychology, and they end up some area in business within that field or in another field.
Yeah, and that piece about something someone told them to do, that's also a big thing. You hear that this or that job is good, and then you find out you're not into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what are the benefits of earning an MBA at UNLV, and what makes UNLV's program unique?
Well, I think for an MBA, no matter where you go, an MBA is a lot about networking, connecting, and learning about business. And a lot about business is about building those relationships. And one thing I like to say is that there's business in every business, no matter what business you're in. And we're both in academics. There is a business side to academics. There's a business side to religion, to healthcare, to doctors and lawyers. I mean, there's always that business side. So getting an MBA, no matter what your undergraduate degree is, adds value to your career. The UNLV MBA, what I really like about our program is that instead of just getting an MBA degree, which you can get that online, you can get that pretty much anywhere. The UNLV MBA program, we like to give our students more of an MBA experience. We are AACSB accredited, and that's the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, and only 5% of the universities internationally have that accreditation. Our part-time program is also ranked in the top 100, according to US News and World Report. We're number 89. So you look at those two, and then the university being an R1 institution. So if you look at those 3 points of value, and then look at our tuition, it really is a great value. But the biggest part for me, I think, is the MBA experience, being to connect with people that have very different backgrounds, learning with them and learning from them in and outside of the classroom really makes our program very different for a part-time evening program.
Absolutely. So speaking of that experience, how can students make the most out of their experience in that MBA program at UNLV? And what are some of the ways that they can get involved on campus?
Well, for example, in the fall semester, the last couple of years with COVID, we've had an online or virtual orientation. This fall, we will begin our in-person orientation again. And it's 3 evenings, and it's not about picking out classes and doing all that academic stuff. I work with students individually on that. The orientation is more about getting them connected and engaged into that MBA experience. We have representatives from different student groups that come in and talk. We have one of our professors, actually it's the vice dean, that goes over team building and gets them engaged with each other for the first 2 nights. The third night, we usually have a mixer. We invite the faculty, current students, and alumni to kind of welcome those students. It kind of starts that immersion into our program and begins that experience. One of the courses that we have that students take at the very beginning of the program is leadership teams and individuals, taught by now an internationally recognized professor, Poets and Quants. He was one of the top 40 MBA professors kind of internationally, nominated by students. So he teaches that class, and that class extends that orientation team building so that they really get connected, more like a cohort program that students would experience, but it's not a cohort program. It's more of a flexible program with a cohort feel to it. The ways to get involved: we have an active MBA student association. During COVID, we have done socially distanced hikes. It's the only thing that we were able to do. So we this past weekend, they went to Mount Charleston. We've been to Red Rock several times and to Mount Charleston several times. So we take groups of students on hikes so they can really connect in person in a socially responsible way. In the fall, we will have mixers, again, speakers, hopefully our MBA famous karaoke. Who knew MBAs love to sing, but it's been our most popular event. So we provide a lot of opportunities outside of the classroom for students to engage with faculty, other students, and alumni. So that kind of expands their knowledge and connections and that MBA experience.
Awesome. So what sorts of internships and graduate assistantships are opportunities are available for students of the MBA program at UNLV?
We have campus-wide, I think it's over 1,000 graduate assistantships. So our office, we only have one, but our students can apply for the various assistantships within the Lee Business School. Each of our 5 academic departments hire assistants. We have a career services office, economic research center, lead real estate center. They hire our graduate assistants. Our university career services office, graduate college, student academic success center, the Center for Academic Outreach. There's a lot of different positions, and even athletics. We have some of our students doing assistantships over in athletics. There's a lot of them available across campus. For internships, for students that have less work experience, or if they're international, or if they're switching careers, we encourage them to take the internship as an elective so that they can gain that business experience that they don't have if they don't have a lot of work experience. For international students to gain that experience while they're here in the United States. And then for those career switchers, if they're moving from marketing to management or management to IT, to be able to gain experience within that industry that they're hoping to get into. And again, establish those connections with somebody within that industry. So those are some of the things we do for graduate assistantships and internships as far as opportunities.
Absolutely. So I think you touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the on-campus resources available to grad students at UNLV?
We have an active graduate college. They have a professional development office that actually one of our MBA alums is in charge of. They have a writing boot camp. They have mentoring and teaching certificates. They have a graduate pathways program. So those are just a few of the things that the graduate colleges offers. We have a graduate and professional student association. Those are graduate students from across the campus that it's kind of like a student government, but it's student government at the grad level. Students can get involved with that area as well. And an active MBA student association. We do business visits every semester. We have our career services office at the university level and at the college level. Also for students that pursue a dual program with law or a dual program with hotel, they also have their own career services office. So there are a lot of resources on campus for students depending on what their interests are. We also have student groups, the Rebel Venture Fund. If students are interested in entrepreneurial finance, they can join one of these groups. Or if they're interested in the marketing side, there's a Student American Marketing side, a FinTech group. It just depends on what their interests are. Just a lot of resources depending on kind of where they want to go and focus.
That's amazing. So what are the application requirements for the program if students are interested in applying? And also, I don't have this on my list here, but also when is the deadline typically, and when do applications typically open?
Okay, so applications typically open about a year ahead of time. So if students are interested in this fall, they're already open. If they're interested in next fall, they'll open of September this year. So with the application process, we work in tandem with the graduate college on admission. So students would actually apply through the Grad Rebel Gateway in the graduate college, so upload their unofficial transcripts, complete that application. And once they submit, once they get all their documents in there, the other documents, it would be their resume. We do look at work experience. We have students complete a statement of purpose or a self-evaluation, and that is the writing portion. That's what we look at for the writing. It's a lot more interesting than the writing sample on the GMAT. So we don't even look at the writing sample on the GMAT. We want to learn a little bit more about our applicants. That information is a little bit about why they're pursuing the program, why they think they're a good applicant, and what they plan to do after the program. 2 letters of recommendation, they can be academic or professional. So for students that are coming right out of undergrad, they may have 2 academic references. Someone that's been out in industry for 15 years may have both professional references. We do have some that get 1 of each, depending kind of on where they're at in their career. We also require the GMAT, and that GMAT exam probably causes the most stress and takes the most time for individuals coming into the program. And more information can be found on MBA.com. We also take the GRE. So either one of those entrance exams. And we don't waive that. The only exception we waive that GMAT for is for students that have a terminal degree, like an MD, PhD, or a JD law degree. So that's kind of our application process. Our deadlines, we admit fall, spring, and summer. Our biggest intake is in the fall. We have probably anywhere from 60 to 120 applicants for fall. For spring, we'll have anywhere from 40 to 100 applicants. And in summer, we usually have maybe 20 to 30. That's our smallest group of students that apply for our program. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have several different MBA programs. For most students, if they don't have an undergraduate degree in business, which most of our students don't, we have a general MBA, and that is core courses and electives. We have concentrations in areas such as HR, MIS, finance, new venture management are some of our concentrations. And we have dual programs. So if students are looking at hospitality and MBA, they can combine those 2. The MIS and the MBA, which is Management Information Systems and an MBA. We also have a quantitative finance and MBA, and those 2, the MIS side and the quant finance, are STEM programs tied with the business degree. We also have professional degrees, the dental school, the medical school, those 2, MBA, MD, and an MBA, Doctor of Dental Medicine degree, and then a law degree. So we have those 3 professional degree duals. We also have 2 with civil engineering and computer science. So for those students coming into those programs, they're able to take those same core courses with students. So you have somebody in the medical program, somebody that's a dual hospitality, somebody that's pursuing finance, but they're all able to work together in the core courses. And then when they get to their electives and the other degree, they kind of move out to those areas. But they're developing that wide range of contacts where those students will be working in very different industries than they will be.
And thank you for talking about that. That's a great point to make, is how many different types of degrees you offer. So my little bonus question here that I like to ask at the end, which is, what is a piece of career and or life advice that you wish you had been given when you were a student?
I think to build those relationships and be able to connect with people early. I know when I was an undergrad, which is a number of years ago, I was a recipient of 2 years. I was a recipient of a Chamber of Commerce scholarship for some of the volunteer work that I did. I didn't take advantage of being a student and connecting with all of those folks. I had to do presentation of the chamber when I was younger. I remember then President Harder, there were a couple of things that I attended that I didn't think much about, but they were people that I really wish I would have connected with as a student. So I think building those relationships and being open to learn from other people and connect with other people. I wish I would have taken advantage of that opportunity when I was an undergrad student. I do a lot of that now and I really enjoy it. I was so focused on getting my degree and my undergrad that I didn't think about all those other things, like informational interviewing is a great opportunity for students to kind of explore what areas they are interested in, and also find out if they're interested in an area and start talking to people in those areas to find out maybe it's not an area they want to go into. So being open to really connect with people. I don't think students take advantage of those opportunities as much as they should. I know I didn't when I was an undergrad, and that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I would have.
I could not agree more. That is my exact experience too. I did not take advantage of, I mean, there's so many things you have available to you as a student at any college or university. You have all of these additional services that are offered to you, like wink, wink, the Career Services Center. We are here to help you. And that's such a great resource that once you graduate, well, you'll still have the career services. We do work with alumni, but some of the other services you're not going to have anymore, and you won't be able to make those connections, and those things are so valuable. And also hold on to the connections you make with your classmates, because those could end up being important connections someday too. That is also networking in a way. So finally, the last question I have here, which is, if students have additional questions and they want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Okay. Email is usually the best way. My email is lisa.davis@unlv.edu. I've been scheduling a lot of WebEx and Google Meets with prospective students that are interested in finding out a little bit more about our program. I think when you're looking at graduate degrees, finding the program that fits for you and that you're a good fit for the program, I think doing that due diligence and finding out what's going to work best for your career, I think is a great thing to do. And one of those is just to connect with people within the industry and within the graduate program to find that and make that connection. So I'm always available for usually 10 to 15 minutes to kind of go over some nuts and bolts of our program and whether or not it's a good fit. And then I can plug them into different people at UNLV, kind of connecting them if they're looking at MBA or looking at public administration or looking at healthcare, get them connected with those so students can do their due diligence to find that program that works best for them.
Absolutely. Again, I could not agree more. I think getting that extra information and making sure that what you're applying to is something you're really excited about, and to just learn a little bit more about it. And again, that's your first piece of networking there, making connections with someone at the program. So I could not agree more. So Lisa, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Students, anybody watching this, thank you so much for taking the time to once again listen to me talk a whole bunch with one of our partners. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all next time. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Zach.